Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Dirt 3. Another weird thing, I left the game here for several hours just sitting on the main menu and Steam crashed again. So I don't know if perhaps the most recent update of Steam is buggy or if it's just the interconnection of this. The game didn't really freeze though this time. And I also learned something else while we jump into the race here, which we should do. Turns out, when you first load this game, very quickly, it does say that if you upload videos of this to YouTube, you agree to some kind of terms and services, and it doesn't explain it all, and whatever, that would never hold up in court in the first place. Overreaching agreement is particularly an odd attempt, since there's no, as far as I can tell on the PC version, even a way to upload to YouTube.
Oh, who am I kidding? You're a Rallycross star.
And also particularly odd because now they're trying to say that I am agreeing to something because I'm doing my job as a news reporter and video game critic. Like, nope, doesn't work that way. But pretty typical with the way video game companies try to treat YouTubers and end users in general. They might as well just make these end user license agreements to say all the rights possible ever thought up by our lawyers belong to us and you get no rights whatsoever. They might as well just say that. It's so overreaching and so ridiculous. Actually, it's downright freedom of speech infringing, isn't it? For you to even talk about our game and use footage as examples, you have to agree to our license. Annoying things. Particularly annoying considering this game is all out swearing up and down to say upload these videos to YouTube. Left and right. So we're in first position again. I'm losing some speed because of the auto throttling. I've never had an issue with the Steam client though, but I've only been using Steam for a few years, and I've certainly in less time seen issues with the operating systems for the like PlayStation and the Xbox and Nintendos. Although the early Nintendos were mostly rock solid. The NES and the Super NES and all the cartridge-based ones in particular, it would be pretty impossible to determine whether it was the system or the game that was locking up. Nor was I that scientific or interested in determining the cause of lockups back when I was playing those systems. Come on, race, let's finish this. We're on lap 3. It's a little slow, a little long. Of course, this wouldn't be long if I was playing it on hard, because it may very possibly have turned out
you gotta show that
like
to the
fourth
world.
or
Put it on YouTube.
so. Perfect example here. Let's see. So we need to go look at the legal and see what the legal has to say. It probably is not going to say anything. It's probably going to point you to a website. And by the way, that's not going to stand up in court either. If something says, for terms and conditions go here, well, there's no way you can ever prove that the terms and conditions said what they said, what you say they said. Because it allows them to update the terms or change what it says at any point. That being said, there are plenty of contracts that do get upheld because people don't bother to even read them. And they just click I agree. But I think in the next few decades, judges are going to come back and say, no, you need to explain things more clearly and precisely. And we've started to see that on the end-use license agreements where they say the basics are this, this, and this. So you have to read at least the beginning of it. It eventually comes down to what does agreement really mean? Can somebody who's blind, deaf, and dumb accidentally click I agree and be bound to a contract? Can someone who doesn't speak the language click I agree without knowing what they were doing? And are they bound by a contract? Or doesn't it require at least some small amount of intent? What if a baby clicks I agree? Is it under contract? Well, if a baby in the United States can't legally hold a contract anyways, but what about somebody with the mindset of a baby, someone severely mentally deficient? And see, that's going to be odd to uniquely have to kind of rant about the YouTube aspect on this game. There's really not a lot to say anyways, though left of the game. We're just trying to just get through the races. Which a lot of these races seem slightly different, but not extremely different. And I might have tried to
I like what I'm seeing so far.
It's all systems go, mate. You're doing great.
Yeah, I would have probably tried to filter out some of these races, and so we have some more drastic changes happen. Because a lot of times it seems very, very, very similar, with only slight changes here and there. So another first place, which...
Hey, great one. I just got off the phone with my boss. They want you in another challenge, and they won't take no for an answer.
So that's 3. 3 times they've called me by the nickname in the entire game. Seems like a wasted feature to create. So we were gonna change the racing style, but I don't know if that didn't... Well, let's look at the legal here. By uploading a video to YouTube, you agree to YouTube's terms of service located at youtube.com/tt. Portions of copyright. Wow. Okay. I take it all back. I misread it. And see, I should have read it further, but they're just... This is pretty much standard we claim copyright stuff. And they're saying you, by uploading to YouTube, you agree to YouTube's terms of service. Okay, well, that is true. When I actually have business with YouTube and upload videos to YouTube, I do agree to their terms of service. Begrudgingly sometimes, for as much as they randomly uphold their part of that bargain. And let's see. So we're gonna Ross Hunter Complex is the guy we're gonna listen to. So no, don't quit. Hit the other button. I take the whole rant back. I misread. Sorry. I can sometimes do that. Let's hurry up and finish these 5 races. And we're gonna have let's try the S2000. We're gonna have the male voice with complex instructions and see if that helps any. Now, still no real tutorializing there. By the way,
terrible
YouTube's terms of service, you can certainly read them, but they're mostly just don't steal other people's copyrighted material, whole hat, so don't upload Family Guy and Simpsons episodes and entire movies or musics or songs. Don't aid or abet terrorism, I think, is probably one of them. Don't put any sexually explicit things, but oddly they're weird about that one a little bit, because if it's for educational purposes, like a real educational
14 keep right over big crest jump. 60 right 5.
If it's real educational footage that actually would have been played on TV or through school, and you're the owner of it, they'll allow some nudity there. But that's kind of as much as they'll do. And if you try to claim artistic nudity, you're probably going to end up in trouble.
Left 4 into right 4 long.
In general, I think at one time, if not still, said no cussing at all, but they don't enforce that at all. It's pretty crazy on the enforcement on a lot of these rules. No hate speech, no doxing people, no doxing yourself. Probably is a good one, just as a rule of thumb, even if that isn't a YouTube's terms. I like this is the one time when I will allow the water to actually hit the screen and not complain about it. Although it's still wrong. Let's see. This is the only real time when... Ooh, this is a weird way to drive. When the water should be hitting the screen like there's a piece of glass in front of you, is when you're driving a car and there actually is a piece of glass in front of you. And see, I could still make this as an argument for that too. And we can do this, and you got the windshield wipers going. And look at that console, it's not doing anything except for telling me what gear I'm in, and the accelerator. They need to work on their internals more.
40, left 2, cut. 40.
So,
right 3, very long, keep in.
So he's saying left 2, right 3,
left 5,
instead of
right 6.
medium left and small left.
6, very long.
And see, this is what I've heard in rally car, actual rally car footage, and it still doesn't make any sense to me. There must be some kind of manual or something that tells you what a 2 turn and what a 6 turn is.
Into right 3, tightens.
Like, seriously needs to be some paperwork, some tutorial, something to just teach me this stuff. And if I have to go Google it to learn it, the game has failed. And inherently, I think this game has failed to onboard me and train me on rally car racing. Let's see, and we have to continue here just for the rest of these races. I'm sure there's a few other things that you agreeing not to do on YouTube, but but I don't know what they are backwards and forwards. See, inherently being a YouTuber, you feel like you're getting yelled at or getting in trouble even for doing your very best, particularly as a video game critic, but pretty much as any kind of criticism or even if you're just making new content that's all 100% yours, there's still somebody gonna try and content ID and claim it and cause you trouble.
Left 3 opens.
You've really opened the door open to yourself.
40. Jump down. Right 5, keep in. Left 6, cut. Right 5 long over
To a
crest,
lot of
tightens
frustration.
Left 4 cut into left 6 over crest. Right 6 long cut.
Did he say
Left
Titans
6.
Lake
40
earlier?
keep right into left 4 plus over crest, tightens.
Yeah, he's saying Titans,
Into
as
opening
in
a
I
bit
assume
right, 40.
it tightens up.
Care over narrow bridge into right 4 cut.
Care over the narrow
Left
bridge,
4 keep in.
so you don't fall off the bridge.
40. Left 3 don't cut into right 4 into left 4 long.
It'd be nice if
40,
you could
right
just
6
drive around these
Jump
areas
mid onto tar.
and look around
Into right 6.
without feeling rushed.
Left 6 onto gravel.
But
40 keep right into
5
even
feet
left.
to the left or right of the path, and you know there's not any programming or geometry. Nope. Rewind. Almost certainly, if I could go and do a jump, if I could do a jump where I made some great air to about 20 feet to the right or left of any place, almost certainly I would just fall through the ground. I bet there's no geometry or anything being represented. That's certainly how I would program it. And, well, I would actually probably just have an invisible wall, and as soon as you got anywhere far enough off the track, it would probably just reset you. But if you could get past that invisible wall, you would probably just fall through the ground. Which would be a cool bug to find, and I've seen it in other games. Rally, Michigan. This one looks different. And see, the rally cars have this half sanctioned, half illegal racing vibe to them. Because it just doesn't seem like it's as big as NASCAR. And it always seems like we're racing on roads.
Into right 4
I mean,
down.
this totally could be an illegal
Right
race.
3 tightens
And
to
how
2.
would we even know?
Left 2. Keep right over crest. Left 6 plus. Crest flat 80. Left 4 into right 4 long. Into left 3. Right 4.
I guess the game would probably get a higher rating if it was promoting illegal activities.
Right 4 opens. Into left 6 jump dip.
It's kind of like the skater issue, but more legitimate. Like, skaters are constantly being told they can't skate anywhere at all, and even if a city builds a skating park for kids, it's often heavily patrolled with police who may or may not want to hand out truancy tickets or harass kids for no reason, just because they're jerks. But everywhere else where it would be cool to skate, it's clearly made illegal, and the companies don't like it. And they always say the same thing, that it damages the sidewalks and the handrails and things, and it never really seems like it does, but maybe it does. At least here, I could see if you were illegally street racing on public roads, you probably are going to
40, right 4
either
tightens.
put other people on the road in
Crest jump
incredible
into left 6,
danger,
right 6.
or possibly damage the roads
Into
by
left 4
driving
through
way
gate.
too fast on them, or damage
left
the
5.
telephone poles by crashing
right,
into
into
them, or
left 3
damaging
long.
houses by crashing into them. At least in a car, I can see you are effectively
Right 4
driving
very
a
long,
very
tightens
heavy
left 3
tank,
over crest.
going very fast, a lot more legitimately than I think a kid with inline skates can actually break stairs.
Right 6 plus into left 5 long. Right 4 through
But
gate into
yeah,
left 5 cut over crossroads onto gravel.
it's a bad system with skating in
Left 5
particular.
into right
It creates this skater culture where
Crest
skaters
60.
learn firsthand not to trust anybody,
Right 6 over crest flat into
anybody
right
in
4
authority, such as police or
Left 5 keep
or
in.
adults in
Over
general.
flying finish.
And then once you lose your faith in your society like that, then it's easy to take the next step and actually move on to criminality. Since they're already being told they're criminals, why not just move on to the next thing? Which probably inevitably is drugs. And then with the marijuana issue, now that marijuana has been made legal, at least by the states in several of the United States, a lot of the kids who would have felt like there was a pressure or reason to do marijuana are now coming back and reporting back and saying, well, I don't need to do it now. I can study and work towards college, and I'll smoke the marijuana when I have a job or when I'm in college. So it's caused less kids to smoke marijuana than it has increased it.
Into right 5.
Oddly, at least that's what the
Into
reports in the news I see are
left
saying.
6 over crest. Right 6 long.
Once
cut.
you decriminalize something, you make it
Left 6.
less cool
40
to
keep
the
right into
to
left
the
4 plus
rebellious
over
youth.
crest tightens. Into open hairpin right 40. Care over narrow bridge into right 4 cut.
Keep on racing, keep on
Left 4
racing.
keep in.
And obviously I've got very little to
Crest
say
40.
as we're doing this
Left 3
same
don't cut
track
into
again at just a different time of
Right
day.
4 into left 4 long.
Is this entire rally
40,
just the
right
same
6
track in
Jump
different
mid onto
weather?
turn.
See, that's
Right
not the
6.
way to do it if that's really what's
Left
happening
6 onto
here.
gravel.
It's hard to remember.
40 keep right into
It's
hairpin
all
left.
just blurring together.
Onto tar.
That's got me down to 27
Left 5 plus
miles
into
per
right
hour.
5 plus cut. Left 6 cut. Right 3 onto tar. Left 3 tightens to 2. Right 4 onto gravel.
See, I wouldn't be surprised
Left
if
4 keep in. Right 5
when
keep
we
in.
start to go to 100% automated driving, if the automatic cars do start to
Into
drive
crest, jump,
in
flat to finish.
special lanes that go faster, so instead of 60 miles per hour for a regular driver, it's the automatic cars are doing 90 on the left-hand lane, the passing lane, or they're in the high occupancy vehicle, the HOV lanes that are usually barriered off, and they're going very, very fast that way. And that might kill the general excitement for racing cars if people can do it for real. But it might not. We might very well have all automatic NASCAR races where the cars drive themselves as fast as possible, and we're just programming different AIs to drive the cars, tweaking whether they want to be aggressive or whether they want to be
Right 5 keep in.
more strategic or technical drivers.
Right 5 long over crest tightens late.
we may see a NASCAR at some point in the future where there's 20 all AI controlled cars going at 700 miles per hour if we can get it them fast. If we can get the cars that fast, I'm not even sure. We probably could. I don't think we could actually. 700's a little too much. I bet we could get it up to 300 on a modern engine. But then also the question will be, can they do that and not use a ridiculous amount of gasoline? Because if you just put electric cars racing, well, those things aren't going to move that fast. I wonder what the biggest electric motor you could get that would spin very, very fast would be. It would almost certainly be probably a generator, not a motor, that you would be talking about on some kind of gear system or dynamo system. So, so yeah, something like at the Hoover Dam is probably the fastest spinning motor you could ever, they would ever make. Or maybe there's a faster flowing dam out there somewhere. And who's to say how fast that is? I guess I could go look that up. And how much electricity would you have to put into a motor like that? I suppose it's worth pointing out that a generator and a motor are effectively the same thing. The only difference is if you turn the motor with your hand instead of electricity, your hand's energy generates electricity. If you put electricity into a generator, then it becomes a motor and spins the spinny piece, whatever you call that. That's a technical term. So then the question you should ask is, if generators and motors are the same thing effectively, what happens if you hold the piece that's supposed to spin and you put electricity into it at the same time? So therefore it should be spinning, but you're holding it and putting an opposite amount of force. Well, the answer there is it turns into waste energy known as heat, and it would heat up and burn your hand or melt the motor. Might also short out the circuitry, because your hand would be creating an actual physical resistance that actually would mean you're creating an electrical resistance also, and so you very well might hurt the circuitry there. Don't do it, however. Not an experiment I'd recommend. Even with a 9-volt and a motor, holding on to it would probably blister or hurt your hands. So we're almost done with the rally things here. And we started with a rant and then we ended with some other interesting conversations, but not really anything to do with the race. We're going to try the drift showcase and hopefully we can get it done. If we can't get it done, that might be a game ender, because I think I need to get all of them done here to unlock the last 3 here. And if that's not the case, then I don't know what unlocks the last 3 here. We'll find out next time though. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.